Today we need to talk about RM talking about haters and what he has to say. We need to talk about fans unfollowing and trying to ban RM over him smoking, and then we need to get into BTS's album being destroyed or burned. So hey Dumplings, and stay to decide hater or not. Make sure you subscribe with the notification bell on, grab your dumpling, taste Splink mug merch, and let's go. This first topic is something that severely irks me, and I want to add today's video might be a bit angry. It makes me so violently mad because imagine someone sending you death threats over having a dream that you did something bad to them. Trying to ruin your career every day, going into your office or school and holding up posters to get you suspended or fired just because they had a bad dream about you. This is literally what it's like for anyone involved in K-pop, and more often than not, the hate actually makes zero sense. It's one thing if you hate someone because you're like the music is bad, or even something as stupid as they're ugly. Like, these are at least hate comments I understand. But making something in your head and then hating others based on that, that's some mental illness type stuff. And I don't say that as a joke, I say that very seriously. So what happened today? Jungkook has recently been getting a lot of hate because people are accusing him of ruining BTS's reputation. This is of course things like him allegedly being more rough around the edges or considered rude, and then things like tattoos, smoking, and I guess dating rumors, I don't know. But notice how I am saying these things which are completely normal things, and not things like touching kids or murdering someone, which are real problems. So people blame Jungkook for BTS's bad public image lately, even though I am unclear as to what is the bad image that is happening right now. The bad image is because Jungkook is no longer someone who these crazy people dreamt about, and I don't understand what the dream is even about. They dreamt that Jungkook was a robot and didn't do anything personal or anything that humans do. They dreamt that he was a literal god, because the way I am seeing so many of these comments hating Jungkook makes me think that literally no one around them, none of their friends or family members, have ever smoked, had sex, or gotten tattoos, which I find so unbelievably untrue, as that's 90% of my friends. And I have so many relatives that smoke, so I honestly don't understand what the problem is. People, and I don't want to call them armies, have gone around to say that they can no longer support BTS, and then go around and start to destroy BTS's album because they don't want to support BTS anymore. And this makes no sense to me. Even if you don't like what Jungkook does, then just don't support him. But then what is wrong with the rest of the members? Also, if you're unsupporting because of things like tattoos or smoking, then you likely were never a fan, because, for example, tattoos were always something that Jungkook was very much for. When he was younger, he talked about wanting to get them, and so if you heard that and then still supported him, then that's on you. Jungkook from the beginning basically told everyone that he didn't want that type of quote-unquote fan around him because he already let everyone know what type of person he is. The members don't deserve any sort of hate, and it's quite shocking to see even just how much hate RM has gotten recently. RM has literally done nothing wrong except live his life, but when you get to a point of fame, people think that you should speak up or be a part of all the big international situations. A lot of what is going on in a lot of other countries are trying to involve other countries in them. It starts to become, or at least seem, like they don't want people to ignore what is going on, even if it doesn't involve them. So RM is clearly not affected by the situation going on overseas, and thus he might feel no obligation to post or talk about it. And I personally think this is the right thing to do right now, because if he spoke up, this would draw a line and people would get upset because RM is picking a side. And then recently he is getting even more hate over the alleged smoking situation, which I want to get into right after this. RM not too long ago did the Permission to Dance concert with BTS, and they all spent some time talking to ARMY, and this concert was one of the first they were allowed to do after the pandemic, and meant a lot. Not only to ARMY, but it meant a lot to BTS to see how many people were interested, excited, and happy to see BTS back in full swing. RM always leaves such great messages during the show, and he talked about haters, which I hope he is using recently to remind himself on what to do. He talked about the Grammys and losing the Grammy Award, and talking about why should he care. Basically saying that he doesn't, and telling armies not to care either. He reminds ARMY that instead of addressing hate comments, focusing on it, or even thinking about it at all, he would prefer to go to a cafe and talk to his friends rather than thinking about the hate comment. And I agree with this. Go out and do something with your life that makes you happy. You have to be a miserable person to want to sit there and be angry, because that's not mentally healthy. That's also not physically healthy. It genuinely shortens your life. So to be so wrapped up in, I can't support them anymore, and then be so mad, That's not healthy. If you're mad, be mad for like an hour and then go about your life. Being mad at someone who does not know you exist, does not care, and someone you probably shouldn't have been that attached to the point where what they do with their life upsets you, that's not good. Take this advice if you're someone who sends hate, and definitely it's applicable advice even if you're someone who gets hate themselves. It's hard, but it's possible to literally shut your phone off and not deal with it. The hard part about cyberbullying is when it has real life implications, and for a lot of cases it doesn't. I know high school is tough, but for most cases it doesn't. If you're a public figure and you're getting canceled, no, you're not. People see someone get canceled online and then their views drop and all the haters are happy that it worked. And then other situations where you lose sponsorships or whatever, yeah, that happens. But if you let things rest and then go back and create really bomb and amazing content again, you'll be back up there and everyone will forget. It only becomes a problem because you're being canceled if it's for no good reason, and then you change how that content made you popular for the worst, and it's no longer good. Then it's not that you're getting canceled, but naturally people stop watching because it's not good. And thus, those who have built their success off of creating drama online will often fade after the scandal because they realize they don't want to have their content, music, whatever, be fueled by drama. However, BTS will never get canceled because their content is good. And the only people that care about things like tattoos or smoking and send hate comments because of it are the people who don't really have that much else going on with their lives except sending hate. RM has recently received so much hate over him allegedly smoking. He posted a photo on his Instagram showing him smoking, and I think it's him backstage. Now, what is the backstory for this photo? No one knows. Was he backstage? Someone offered him a cig and he decided to try it, or has he been a chronic smoker already, which was another theory that was floating around. Bottom line is, I don't really care which it is, but he posted this photo and then he deleted it shortly after. People online were saying a few things. Some people were upset this was being covered at all because they're saying it's not newsworthy, and then others were just upset. And I want to say RM smoking is newsworthy because if you look at all the news sites who talked about it, they're getting millions of hits on the article or video. People wanting to know more or things that have people's attention, that's what newsworthy is. So it's interesting to us. There's stuff to be talked about here. My angle here is not the smoking itself, but the reaction everyone is having. People are talking about unfollowing or banning RM because he smokes, and then I've seen comments of people saying that they don't want to support RM or BTS anymore, claiming that if you take several of the old photos that RM has posted on his story, he has very much hinted towards smoking in the past. From him playing with an alleged lighter on the live stream to him apparently showing burn marks on his clothes and many other things. And if you choose to not support him over smoking, then that is definitely your decision. But then just leave quietly. The fact that there's people making a big deal, tweeting a bunch, making entire articles and several posts in a row saying how disappointed they are, no one cares, just leave. These people are the problem. Not even opinions everyone needs to hear. It doesn't need to be vocalized. Like there's some sort of king or queen that needs their opinion be heard and then in law be enacted that grown men can't smoke. And I don't understand what happens from there. So the opinion gets vocalized, then what? Do they expect the idol to apologize? But they're not going to accept the apology. So you want them to quit music? I don't understand. And if these people 100% stand by their comments, then say it with their whole chest. Don't post about it on an anonymous account. Post it publicly with your face so everyone can reach out to your employer to let them know what type of person you are and how you spend your day, as I'm pretty sure they don't want someone who is very much not mentally well to be working for them. The boys will continue to thrive, and I see no reason to unstand them right now. They have literally done nothing wrong. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thank you, just lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.